Okay, let's get ready. Today we're going to be painting a hibiscus plant. And again, it's an abstract, so we're not really going for realism, but we will be adding a lot of detail. This painting is going to require you to be very patient, and you're going to have to kind of push the envelope on your own visual creativity. What you have here is the peel-off of the shape of the hibiscus, and I have the stamen open, which we'll get to in a little while. We have our 8x10 canvas. We have our spatula. We have our paper towel, which I like to fold. Your plastic apron, which you might want to put on. We have two brushes, a fine point round and a flat brush. We also have 5 packets of paint. We have blue, white, green, orange, and yellow. Just move those off to the side. Off camera, we have a cup of water, and I would strongly suggest that when you put your canvas panel down, you put paper underneath it. I have a piece of construction paper. I also have my canvas taped so it doesn't move, as well as my palette sheet, which is where we'll be placing our ink on the glossy side. So let's get started. The background is going to be kind of a marbly design, so we're not going to be going for the same thing. Each of us are going to actually be painting something a little bit different. I'm just going to squeeze out a small amount of blue. Move that to the side. I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of white. Squeeze out a little bit more of that. And then we're going to squeeze out a little bit of green. This is all we need for our background, because we're going to be kind of randomly placing blotches of color, and that's going to create the background look. We're going to take our flat brush. I'm going to start over on this side. Just going to grab a touch of green. Just going to put a little bit here and there. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to splash some here, splash some here, splash some around here, just to get a general idea of where the colors are going to end up. Because you see, I'm not putting a lot, because we're going to be going over this, so it really doesn't matter. That's almost like the thoughtless part of the painting. You don't want to be thinking a great deal, but you just want to kind of splash some color around like that. Just random. Just random. You don't have to go in my exact same spots, but if you'd like to, that's fine. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some blue. Didn't clean my brush. I'm going to put a nice dark amount here in this area. We'll pull this all together in a little while. Maybe I'll put some dark blue right here. Definitely around the plant, because I want it to stand out. So I want the darker color to act as the deeper shadows. Not going around the whole thing, but, you know, part of it. This area here, again, I want it to be dark. Now I'm going to pick up a little white. I'm going to introduce some light blue starting on this side. Just some light blue color. See, just placing it around the green, a little bit on top of the green. Just randomly placing this color. Trying not to make it too globbish, so I'll pick some up and move it around a little bit. Just going to randomly splatter. Now where I have the color really deep, I'm not going to go into it, but I'll go near it. Just along the outside edge. But I really want to keep that dark color dark. That looks pretty cool. Now I'm going to take some dark color and mix that in with the lighter blue, just to give some variation. See? Maybe mix some of this. Just kind of splattering it a little bit, touching it with the brush, moving it around. Maybe I'll introduce some more green here. Because remember, this is just like the background. It's not going to mean a lot after a while, but it's just going to give it a little bit of a look. Okay, and excuse me for keep talking, but I don't want to get too quiet on you. I want you to stay focused, not get too caught up in the details, but definitely try to cover up as much of the background as you can with a random pattern. Take some of this darker color. Just going to wipe my brush off for a moment. Take some of this darker color and just build some more around here, maybe back here, definitely over here. Yeah, that's looking really good. You just fill this in completely. Wipe my brush. See, I'm not using any water yet. Just wiping, picking up color, dabbing, taking some white, mixing it in. Come over here, maybe I add some more green to this corner. Take some white and blue, maybe lighten this area up a little bit. See? There, now it's starting to fill up. See, you're starting to see no open space. I'm not really going into the flower yet. I'm just going around it just to give a little accent. Then I'm going to pull back in a moment and see where I need to add some more colors. Wipe my brush. Now, we have our background pretty much splattered in. So now what I'm going to do is introduce this darker blue where I really want it to show up. Right up in here. Like that. Yeah. Maybe a little bit there. And again, let's introduce a little bit more right in this area. Right around the edge over here. Now I'm just making sure I have the intensity of color where I'd like it. See? There, like so. Maybe there's a few splotches. Just some random color here and here. Maybe a little bit right there. It'll pay dividends later. Clean off my brush by wiping it. Picking up some of this green just to really darken up where I want that green to be. If you squint your eye, you'll probably see better the pattern that's like the blurriness when we look at our flower. Because we're going to be looking at the flower, this will kind of disappear. So it doesn't really matter, but we just want to make sure we put in a nice blur, if you will. I'm going to call it that for lack of a better word. A nice blurry pattern of color. Just going to intensify some green right in here. That should be it. Oh, good. That's good. That's good. Okay. That looks good to me. Now I'm going to clean off my brush. Dip it into the water. I like to say ringing the bell. Knocking it from side to side. Wipe it off. And now before we go any further, I'm going to squeeze out just a small amount of yellow. This is going to pretty much act as a guide for me in a few moments for the stymon. I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit of yellow. And I'm just going to paint right inside the stymie right here. Just going to take some yellow and just cover that stymon up right there. Make it a nice strong yellow. We'll come back later, but we're about to peel off the shape of the flower. So let's just give this a couple of moments to kind of dry a little bit before we peel. A second or two. Now, you can peel anywhere that you see a corner of your flower, anywhere that you can make out where the shape is. For example, I see it right over here. So I'm just going to take my spatula and dig in right in this corner. Please excuse my hand. Just got to put some pressure. Once I get a small amount, I'm just going to lift up at 180 degrees and peel up my hibiscus shape. See that yellow line? That's going to be our stymon. Move this to the side. See? You can use a butter knife for this, a tweezers, a sharp X-Acto knife, anything to help you just lift up a small amount of the edge, anywhere that you could have seen it, and then just peel it off. And now our creativity is about to begin. What I like to do first, I'm going to leave this stymon as visible as I can, just to kind of get an idea of where that is. Let me just pick up my flat brush again. Okay, now what we're going to do is, we're going to be painting in here and around here. We're not going to worry about the lines that make the petals yet. We're just going to try to stay within the flower shape and give it some of that orange and yellow at the same time. So let's squeeze out some of that orange. Just squeeze this out. And so you can see, I'm actually going to go right up here with this orange and squeeze it out like so. Okay. Now we're going to start painting our flower. I'm going to load the brush with some orange. I'm going to go to the edges and barely touch, but I'm going to drag it to make that shape, staying with the oddness. Let some of the color pick up is fine. And then I'm going to pull towards myself to block it in. And for the stymon, I'm going to actually be painting around it. So let's just take the brush and run it right to the corners or to the edges of the flower shape. You see what I'm doing? I'm just taking a brush, laying it flat, and just driving it right into those corners. It could overlap a little bit. It could touch the blue a little bit. It's okay. See? And that's going to start the basic shape of my hibiscus. Let's do the same thing here. Just going to show you. Just going to load up, lay the brush down, and then just drive it. Let the edge barely touch, but I want to make sure that I cover all the white. So if I pull in a little bit of the blue, it's really okay. So okay, just act as a shadow color. Now I'm going to show you how to work around the stymon. For this, you just want to take the brush and do the same. Just kind of drive it right along the edge and then just pull it. And the reason I'm leaving the yellow is I want you to know where the stymon is. For all of you who are a little bit more advanced in your art skills, you don't need this guide. But for those of you who I'm just trying to help create something beautiful in a matter of moments, that's what I want. I don't care about that little roughed edge. I just want you to make sure you know where that shape is going to end up later on as we develop this picture further. So now with that being done, I'm going to speed up a little bit just to try to block this in. So I'm just going to grab paint, go around the edges, pull towards myself. Once I have the edges, it's okay. Now I can lop in a little bit more paint, but I'm going to be slow and careful around those edges because I don't want it to extend too far over. We have our stymon highlighted, if you will. So now we're just going to develop the petals. And even while this is being done, you could splash some yellow right in there. You see, just give it a little bit of a different tone value for later. And we're going to separate those petals later too. But right now, we just want to kind of block in the whole picture with some orange. And as I said, you could take and splash in some yellow just to give some highlighted tone values for later. See? It helps when it's white when you do that. It's better if it's white, because once color hits there, it's going to be hard for a lot of us to actually make it a different value. So while it's slightly wet, this is where you want to throw in some of that orange. Again, we'll separate the petals later. See how I'm just going around, letting the brush strokes show up? All of that's fine. But I'm pulling towards the center. I'm not stroking left and right. So even though I'm not trying to create individual petals yet, I do want the brush strokes that are going to show up to at least be going in the right direction, which is towards the center. See? Let's go over here. Run the brush around this one and bring it right back towards the center. Splash in a little bit of that yellow right there. Oh, that's beautiful. Not even going to touch that. I'm going to leave that just like that. Take this. I'm going to drive right around. Let the brush do the work for you. You don't have to push hard. You don't have to push down hard. And then just take the brush and pull back towards the middle. And don't forget some of that juicy yellow. Yeah, put some of that yellow right over here. And we're almost blocked in. Well, this is great. This is going to be fun. Now, again, for some of you who have a little bit more art skills, you could actually go back and reinforce and enhance your background. But if you are like a lot of us, we're just trying to create an image of a picture, then you just want to do it first and then leave it alone, as we've done. Now we're almost blocked in. There, our hibiscus is blocked in. Now you can take some yellow and see where you want some of the highlights. Maybe there's a little bit of a highlight yellow here. Maybe there's a little bit more where we started over here. These are just the colors that are kind of letting the sun highlight for us. And it's a little bit of a mixture, but you're just streaking it in, see? And you bring it right back towards the middle. Again, you want to do these now because later it'll be extremely difficult to do it with the yellow. A lot easier with the white that'll be along the tips. All right. Now, our hibiscus plant is blocked in. Our stymon is showing up. At least we know where it is. Now I'm going to show you a trick. If you take a little bit of blue, a little bit of orange, mix it together. See how it starts to get dark? Take some of that green, throw that in there. Take a little bit more of that blue, throw that in there, and take a lot more of that orange and throw that in there. You're going to start to develop a dark value. So this is going to kind of act as our black without it being black. You see how it got muddy? That's what we want. It was a little bit of a mixture. No white, just mixing it in and allowing it to just get dark. There you go. See that? See how just touching a little bit of that blue? See, because blue and orange is a natural complement. The other colors just help to muddy it and make it dark. I'm just going to wipe this off because we don't need it to be thick. Now we're going to take this color that we just created out of blue, orange, a little bit of this green, and then some more orange, and then some more blue. And we're just going to very lightly take the brush at the top point like that, but we're going to be holding it down. Now you have to be creative. You have to see the petals before they happen. So I'm going to go right along here, and I'm going to say that right in this area is a dark value that separates that leaf and starts to create what I'm going to call the cup of the inside where the stymon is. See how I'm going right along the bottom of it? I'm going to add just a touch more color. I'm going to come to this side. I'm going to create like an odd shape. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And I'm going to draw that, and I'm going to say that. Now you see, this is starting to develop as an individual petal. We've already put the edges for these petals. So now it's just a matter of finding a spot like here and coming in and saying, okay, this is a petal. You see, no magic. It's like spider legs. We come right in between here. You see there's a little bit of a dip, and then there's a line, and then there's another curve. So I'm going to come right in the middle, and I'm just going to politely wiggle a little bit, come right back down in here and say, there's a petal. So 1, 2, 3 petals have been created. Take some more of this dark color, Come right down here at the bottom, or you could come from here and just bring it towards this. Bam. 1, 2, 3, 4 petals. This is a petal all unto itself. So now we have more than what we started with. We had our hibiscus shape. We painted it orange, adding a little bit of yellow. We've taken a mixture of the blue, the orange, some green, more orange, more blue, till we got a nice dark color. And we added that over here to provide us with what we're calling the separation of the petals, or the shadow. This is the shadow of the flower that's now making our petals separation. And because we've done that, we're pretty much done. Not completely, but we're pretty much done. Now I want to leave that for a few minutes, clean off my brush, and I'm going to ask everyone to be very, very patient with me. I want you to go get yourself something to drink, relax for about 2 or 3 minutes. We've been at it for about 20 minutes now. We're about 5 minutes from completing the painting. But what I want you to do is I want you to leave this just like it is. Let it set up so we can come back and add all of the details. We need our flower to dry. We need these lines to dry. So when we go back and put more of this color on these lines, it'll show up a lot darker. Then we're going to work our stymon, put our decoration, add some tints of white, some more splashes of yellow, and our painting should be done. So give me 5 minutes and come back. Okay, it may not have appeared like it because of technology, but I just simply paused the camera so that I could give you the 5 minutes that I asked you to take. Now I'm back so we can resume. We're going to go with this brush here. While we're kind of waiting on this a little bit, I'm just going to explain again what we're about to do. The script liner brush we're going to use to make a line on our stymon, and then we're going to decorate it, put some white in it, and that should bring it to life. But right now what I want to do is focus more back here and on the flower itself. So I'm going to pick up some yellow. Just going to take my packet, squeeze out just a little bit more yellow for myself. And I'm going to take that yellow, and where I already have the yellow, I'm just going to streak in some more to try to highlight it, try to bring it up a little bit. So right in here, I'm going to bring it as if this petal is curving this way. So I'm just going to highlight some yellow here. I'm going to highlight some yellow here. Maybe there's some more over here. You see, the painting is drying now, so it actually is going to stand up a little bit more. I'm going to soften those edges just to quietly blend them in, leaving the strongest color to just stand up. See? I'm going to come here again, go around my stymon, right over here, put some yellow. I'm going to come on this side, streak some right over here again. I just want it to be a little stronger than it was before. And then over here, I'm just going to pull some right over here. I know my hand's in the way, but I'm just doing the same pull towards the center. Maybe there's a little bit right there. See? That's good. Now I'm going to wipe off my brush, pick up some of that, what I'm going to call the dark mixture. Shouldn't be too hard. Then I'm just going to go right back over the exact same lines, nice and slow. See how much darker it's getting? You see the difference between this line and what we did first? See? You could do this all day long, making it as dark as you want. It could almost appear to be black. The more layers of this dark value you put on itself, the darker or the blacker it will appear, but it's not black. And that's going to help make the picture really stand out because we're not using black. We're using the complementary color, which is blue and orange as the majority of that mixture with some green in it. And believe it or not, it's going to give the illusion that everything matches. And while it is dark and appears black, we're not using black at all. Or it might even appear brown to you, which is fine. But again, the more layers of this you use, and the softer you want to make your edges, the more this will start to look more like a plant that's real, but we're not using realism. So now let's start decorating our stymon before we get too far. So I'm going to take my brush, my script line. I just dipped it in the water so I could open it up a little bit. I'm going to grab me some of this dark value, keeping it at a point. I just want to trace over the lines. So I might put a finger on the canvas, and I just want to go over the lines right along the edge. See, right along the edge of my stymon. I just want to add some value, right, like this. Some dark color. Might have to keep loading, pull, load, pull. But that's okay, because what I'm doing now is I'm creating the stymon. I'm taking away just the yellow line. I'm adding a darker value. I'm just going to go right along the outside edge here, because I want it to stand on its own. See? Just dragging it, putting it right into the color. Just using the tip of the brush to just keep. See, I'm not pushing down too hard. I don't want the outer line to be too fat. There. Now I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to go in here and grab some of this white. And I'm literally going to paint over the yellow. I no longer want it to be as yellow as it started. Now I want it to be more white. But I used the yellow so you could find it. And now we don't care if we touch a little bit of that brown. As a matter of fact, I'm going to purposely go into a little bit of that brown with the white to kind of blend me a color that'll make this look a little bit more realistic. See? Soften it right along the edge with a little bit of that brown and white together, just to purposely change the whole color. How's that? See? Now I'll reinforce it again by going along the edges, especially towards the bottom with some of that darker value. Find some of those juicier points and just make that line stand out. Make this line stand out. See? It's art. You're just being creative. Take some of this with some of this blue. Mix that in. Go right back in here. Make this really darker. See what I meant? See how that looks black? It's a little bit more blue. Some of that brown color. I'm just going to go right along this here, because this is the center spot. So I really want this to not show where the stymon is and sitting up. Let it like rest inside. You could do the whole thing with this. Now I'm going to show you another trick. You can take a little bit more of this blue and some of this brown. Twirl it around. We're just going to put some dots near the top. Like a dot over here. Just let it sit right in the sky for a second. Maybe there's another dot right here. There's a dot near here. There's a dot over here. And maybe there's one more right there. See? Now I'm going to take the brush, twirl it back to a point, and I'm going to draw some little tentacles that connect it to here to here to here to here to here, like it actually connects it to the top of the stymon. Then I'm going to clean off my brush, some yellow. And I'm going to do the same thing. Except this time, I'm just going to dot the yellow, literally just making dots all along near the stymon, because this is the pollen and stuff that the bees like to come and get. So I'm just going to put that right into the air and just let it sit right off the stymon like so. could touch into what we did up here. That's fine. But I want it to be dots. So I want to make dots and go off. Put some paint, put dots, and come off. Come off, put dots. See? See that? I could take some of this, put it right over the Steinman. Right there, right here. I want the dots to really show up. Like that. See that? Now you could take this skinny brush again, and you could even refine some of those yellow lines, because we're decorating now. Now we're pretty much looking at our flower and saying, where do we want some highlights? Where do we want some color to really show up? Because we're about to finish, and we want to make sure we've given our flower the best life. You could even take some white and go right along the edge like this and highlight a white line like that. What does that act as? It's art. It just adds more definition to your flower. You could take some white, come right here and just make a little bit of a highlight and kind of streak it over a little bit like so. See, like that. You could even go here, do the same thing. Just put a little white right along just parts of the flower, like right there. Maybe there's another bit of white right there. You could put some little lines to it. See? Come over here. And maybe there's a nice one that just comes right along this edge like that. Maybe there's another piece right along this edge. We're just decorating. We're just taking it and we're just being creative. See? And by doing this, you take and you make the eyes move around your picture better. People are trying to figure out exactly what's going on, and that's good. Maybe I'll put a little bit more highlight right there and stop. See? And then maybe right up here again, I'm just going to add a little bit more white just to that. Again, these aren't real. This doesn't matter. This is art. It's our painting. And I'm just showing you how to decorate it, how to put some interest. Maybe there's some white right in here, right on top of that yellow. And then maybe we could throw a little bit right in there. And maybe there's some because we put white on this side. Maybe there's some white that's coming down right here. And again over here. You see? And let's take some of this brown again and go right near the base. And let's just kind of put a little bit more shadow to that right up in here like that. How's that? Maybe take that color again as I was trying to show you with the blue and the brown. A little bit of orange. Take that and just go right up into our area again and darken that up a little bit. See? It's art. You could smudge a little bit of this like that. You could take some of this and pull some of this here like that. Pull some of this brown right here. And maybe there's a little tiny bit right there. Maybe there's some over here. Maybe there's a little touch right there. Maybe there's some right here. See what we're doing? We're just smudging now. We're just taking it and adding a few little accents. Our hibiscus is done. I'm just having fun now. Now I'm just having fun. Now I'm just looking at things and I'm saying, what can I make more defiant? More definite? Make it look a little bit more interesting. Maybe I'll take my brush, clean it off a little bit, come back up in here just with some white, and maybe I'll streak some of that white in certain places just to soften up some of those colors before I take off, or take some of that blue and go in and darken some of those areas. You see? It's your painting. You can stop whenever you feel like it. And the problem that I have is I could go on and on and on forever. I just love being creative. It's just something really beautiful and therapeutic about it. It just relaxes me. It just allows me to see life a little bit differently. You know, I'm always happy. I'm always happy and full of smiles. And I think art and being creative has a lot to do with that. Even when the world is trying to smash me into a corner, I paint myself out of it. I paint myself into a happier being. Okay, that's our painting, everyone. I hope you had fun. I know I did. It looks like a beautiful example of how to just be creative and allow yourself to just have fun. Don't stop on my account. If you want to keep adding little textures and little things, please feel free to go right ahead and do so. I like to blur my lines a little bit here. I don't like them to be so sharp. So I like to take and put some color and just kind of blur them a little bit. Yeah, like that. I like that. That looks better to me. And I'm going to stop here because I don't want my videos to be too long, but I do want you to understand how things work. And basically, there's your hibiscus. So again, I hope you had fun. If you like this video, please give me a like on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see more of the up-and-coming paintings that we have. There's always something interesting going on. I show you how to take pictures and expand them even further. And you just go ahead and be as creative as you want to be. Because anybody can paint, especially with Peiloff and especially with J. Robinson Art. Till next time. Bye-bye.